Hello, everyone. Welcome to Plantathon 2023. I'm Chef Rebecca, and I am making a vegetable stew. So what you have here on the table are all my ingredients. This is our mise en place, where we've already put everything out ready to cook. That really is a great kitchen hack, is you want to make sure that you have everything already out and you're not searching while you're cooking. So in this vegetable stew, one of the things we're going to do is we are going to cut our vegetables large. So as we eat meat often, we're looking for a certain kind of flavor. So I'm just turning on my cooktop here, and we are going to do a type of water saute. But instead of using water, we are going to be using mushroom broth. I'm using mushroom broth because it's going to give that umami flavor. And that's what we're always looking for, especially when we're used to eating dishes that formerly had meat. So this is the mushroom broth, as you can see, the color. And so I'm going to get my pan really hot. And I'm just going to pour a little bit. And what we're looking for, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for that sizzle. And so that lets me know that my pan is ready. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my carrots in. Now, I'm putting my carrots in first because my carrots are something that it takes a little longer. Out of everything I'm cooking today, the carrots take the longest. So that's why I'm putting them in first. Also, if you see the way I'm cutting them on the bias because it makes them look good, but also they're thick, and so that shape is actually going to make it look larger in my bowl. Why am I doing that? Well, as Americans, we are used to eating large portions of things, and sometimes when we eat vegetables, if they're all chopped up very small, we feel like we're missing something. So since this is a stew and we want it to be hearty, we want it to look hearty, we are actually cutting it in a bias. And so as this cooks down, if you know anything about the water saute, once this bubbles away and we get all that liquid out, what's going to happen, I am using a cast iron pan because, I love to use that. It gets hot. I want to give this a little char. You're used to making stews in a pot. It could be Instapot, but we're doing this on the stove top. And so I am looking to get a little caramelization on my carrots. So look at that. All the liquid's gone. I come back with a little more liquid. And I keep doing that until I get a nice brown coloring on the outside of my carrots. So now, the next thing we want to do, after I get the brown, not getting it now, this takes a little longer than our demo today, is I am actually going to put in some celery. And I'm just doing the same thing. Oh, it's about 3/4 of an inch wide because I want that chunk when it hits my mouth. I want that big, the texture, but also the size. So I'm going to put my celery in. And one of the things I wanted to share with you about using leeks, love leeks for any kind of soup or stew, is you can cut them in rounds, but you need to wash them because the grittiness is all inside. But also, one of the hacks you can do is you can cut it right down the middle and cut half moons. And then put it in your liquid. This is just water. I rinse these other ones first, get all the grittiness out, and then add that to our saute. So we're not using onions, we are using leeks. Nice. All right, so we got our, I wish you guys could smell this. We've got our celery, we've got our leeks, we've got our carrots, which are definitely starting to smell that caramelized flavor because they've got sugar in them. Carrots have the sugar, so now as it cooks down, we're getting that smell, that char. All right, so I'm putting in a little more, and I'm going to keep going like this. So I'm going to make a little slurry. And that's one of the tricks to this dish. So I'm going to use arrowroot, and I'm putting in garlic powder and just a pinch of salt. And then I'm going to make a slurry. I'm making a slurry because I want this to be thick. And this is going to cook down as I'm cooking. And it's going to give this some thickness. That's my first hack for getting this to be a little thicker. And then I'm going to start adding my seasoning. So I got a little onion powder here. I've got some thyme, which I have actually picked myself, which makes this dish a little more special. And oregano. And so we're going to mix all this together. And it's just cooking down. So I've got beans. I made my beans already. I use lima beans on purpose. You guys can guess already why I use the lima beans. Yes, because they're large, right? And we're trying to give that texture in the mouth. But also they're creamy. So they're going to add a little creaminess to this stovetop vegetable stew. We're also putting in corn, and we're putting in string beans. The very last thing, because it doesn't take long to cook at all, are the peas. But I got myself a little treat, and my treat is broccolini. And so I'm going to use the crowns and the stems. So now I'm going to put in some bay leaf, because I want that bay leaf to cook in with my stew. Oh, that smells so good. I'm going to add in my corn and string beans. Again, all this can be done in an Instapot, but I like doing it this way just because I like to get that char by using my pan. And it's going to give it a little more flavor without adding salt, and I do have just a little drop of Nama shoyu in something I'm going to show you. See what I did there in a minute? Okay, and now I'm going to add my beans. I love lima beans. Oh my gosh. That was such something that I had all the time as a child. My family definitely ate a lot of lima beans. They look like the gigante beans, which I do also eat those as well. Okay, and then I am going to add in my peas. So here's my stew with all the items that you see there. But one of the things that I did when I'm cooking for the holidays is I always try to make it look festive. So I took a ramekin, I put the stew inside, and on top is sweet potato. You could use white potato as well, but on top here is sweet potato. And then I fired it a little bit in the broiler, and underneath is my stew. And so that's it, folks. I hope you'll make this dish and have a wonderful holiday. That sweetness of that potato mixed with the savoriness of the stew is just perfect. Thanks for joining me.